The new report from the Department of Health and Human Services, which Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the nepo baby, oversees, is so disappointing. I think this is just such a big betrayal of everything MAHA really stands for, and I hope folks who are MAHA or moms across America, and others who are dads across America, all of us. I hope you're just keeping your eye on the prize. Look, if you look at all the societal discord going on right now, this was predictable from a neurobiological viewpoint. In fact, back in the 1990s, I was at the National Academy of Sciences in Washington, D.C., representing the public interest on the Safe Seafood Committee, and we were studying the effects of chemicals like organochlorines and heavy metals on the developing fetus. This is very important. Around 1995, 1996, after I left the academy, one of the people who came onto my committee and actually used my research was the late wildlife biologist Theo Colburn. And she and I spoke about her work. She was really the pioneer of educating us about endocrine disruption and wrote the book along with several co-authors called Our Stolen Future, which is a classic environmental book and you should read it. It's great. But she talked about how animals in her realm, wildlife biology, were suffering deformities, behavioral changes, fertility issues, herding issues. All of these were occurring in the animals with the highest exposures to chemicals like DDT. And that was the chemical that I was exposed to throughout much of my life until I was about 30 years old and became a journalist, an award-winning journalist. I had fished all my life in the Santa Monica Bay and became highly poisoned by DDT. That's on some of my other videos, and you can see that. But the point is Theo took over the work that we were doing it there, and she used some of my work to start to develop her own theories and papers on endocrine disruption. So the big thing that was happening, and Theo told me this one time when we were speaking, is she worried about societal discord. She said, you know what we're doing? And if you look at this from a statistical viewpoint, we're dumbing down entire generations of kids because we're exposing them to chemicals like organophosphate pesticides, which literally, like chlorpyrifos, which literally kill portions of the brain. I mean, there were studies done in Salinas, California with the Chamakos youth that researchers at University of California at Berkeley did, the kind of research that our public funding paid for, that showed that kids who were most exposed to chlorpyrifos and other organophosphate chemicals suffered just dead zones in their own brains. And I talked to a teacher in that area who said, sometimes you're looking at kids and they just can't learn. And this is happening. It has been happening. We could have told you this 30 years ago. We're going to create more societal discord. Now, there are lots of other influences, okay? Because when you're talking about this, it's a complex subject, but also understand that the fact that there are so many chemicals in our kids' bodies is an indication of our throwaway society and are not caring enough about kids or our lives. We've learned that we can throw away things, that things pass into the ether. It's really terrible. We're not investing in our kids. We're not educating them about civics. And at the same time, we're dumbing them down, as I said. And this MAHA and the report coming out of the Department of Health and Human Services that's supposedly coming from this MAHA chieftain, the nepo baby, is just completely abdicates pesticide reform. Instead, they want to explain to us why we need to keep Roundup and atrazine, which is in every drop of drinking water for 1.3 million Louisianans in the Mississippi River, and it comes into their finished water, why it's okay to keep this in there. Meanwhile, people along the river are dying of cancer and kidney disease, and it's because of their exposure to these chemicals. Some women are infertile, which is because of the exposure to atrazine, which is one of these endocrine disrupting chemicals. It doesn't do anything about pesticides. It just says we're going to explain how all of their values and downplay their risks, all right? Whereas if we had emphasized more and more organic farming, we'd have smaller, tighter knit communities, healthier water, healthier air, and there would be a kind of something taking over society. It would be a ripple effect. Those of us who are doing this already understand that when we go organic, it's a lot more than just it's a lot more than what it literally means, certified organic foods. It's a way of life, a way of thinking and caring about people. But we're not doing that as a society. Instead, Trump is allowing more and more chemicals into our food, water, and air and consumer products. And this is going to continue for generations to ruin society. It's taking away anywhere from 5 to 7 IQ points across the whole curve, up and down. Everyone is losing on this. So we're dumbing down society, and there are studies that show this. There are also studies that show as you dumb down society, the people who are less educated and have lower IQs tend to be more authoritarian, autocratic. They tend to be intolerant of other lifestyles. And so you can see that this is all starting to add up. If we had cared enough about our kids 30 years ago to make more and more and more and more of their food and everything else, as I said, goes with thinking that way, taking chemicals out of their bubble bath, that, these gender bending chemicals like phthalates, which permeate their lives. And we show that these chemicals, alter gender behavior. We're throwing all of this into the societal mix. We're making it more and more difficult for our kids to exist and do something great because we're robbing them, as Theo said, our stolen future is here. And this is what we're getting. It's not the only answer, but I want you as an individual to think about this for your own life because it will make you healthier. And in the process, it's going to be good for this country. We can go a little more organic. We don't need glyphosate, which is also called Roundup. We don't need atrazine. God forbid that they bring back chlorpyrifos. They've already brought back dicamba, okay? So this thing is a betrayal, this report. This whole administration is a betrayal in so many ways. It's not going to solve or create a more peaceful society for us. Not when you continue to throw so many poisons into the mix. They're loosening up regulations everywhere, folks. I'm just trying to tell you what's going on. You can learn more about what I'm doing and what I say from my new book, Raising Healthy Kids, Protecting Your Children from Hidden Chemical Toxins. You can get it at Amazon.com or by using the link in this post.